Today I'm going to be talking about power by association. We're going to see that as the disciples began to spend time with God, they started to change, they started to learn, and they started to grow. Three things: they started to change, they started to learn, and they started to grow. They had to leave everything that they knew and began to learn everything that they didn't know. They left the familiar territory and started trying to embrace their Messiah and understand what their Messiah is teaching, what their rabbi stands for. And you would notice that even after Jesus died, they were so gripped with fear, because at that point they were drawing their strength directly from the physical presence of their Messiah. So their source had been terminated, and in as much as they knew so many things and so many they had so much information, but they had a spirit of doubt. They were doubting the authenticity of the information they had acquired, because if their source had terminated, what is the guarantee that everything is real, everything is true? So they had that moment of doubt, and Jesus knew that was going to happen. That's why he sent the Holy Spirit, another source that can never be truncated or terminated by anything or anyone. And when the Holy Spirit descended on them, it made it very easy for them to manifest in tremendous ways, because Jesus had already sown those seeds prior to the Holy Spirit coming. Jesus had already been working on them, helping them, teaching them, making them to unlearn things that had blocked their minds, things that had prevented them from understanding God in a deeper way. So when the Holy Spirit came, it's just like it set fire to an already prepared meal, and they began to burn and cook and burn, and it would have been I don't know what the Holy Spirit would have been able to achieve if Jesus had not done so much background work in the disciples. And you see that it didn't happen overnight. They spent time, they spent months and years with the Messiah, understanding him and learning from him. And it just means that as Christians, there are so many things that we want to happen immediately, and we want to read the Bible today and perform miracles tomorrow. And as much as those gifts are available to those who love God, and those gifts are available to those who call his name, but there is something that you would understand, that by associating yourself with Jesus, there is a learning process and there's a growth process, and it's not going to happen immediately. Just imagine when you buy things to cook. Let's say you want to prepare a chicken stew, and you buy the chicken and you wash it and marinate it, and then you put it on fire to cook. That you and I know that is not the second that you put it on fire that is cooking. It takes time. It takes time to cook. It takes time to get done. And you have believed that God is cooking some people, and believe that God is, trying to marinate you, do his word into your mind, and trying to marinate his ideals and what he stands for into your heart. And as he tries to marinate these things, don't rush it. Don't rush the process, because when he's done cooking you, you'll be done and you'll be ready. You'll be done and you'll be ready to serve, or you'll be done and you'll be ready to serve in tremendous ways. Don't rush the process, because everything happens for a season and everything happens for a reason. And at the appointed time, God will allow you. At the appointed time, God will usher you into your manifestation. There is absolutely no reason why you should want to get done right now, because you need to cook properly. Just imagine if the disciples did not spend time under the tutelage of Jesus, trying to understand what it means to be a Christian. They wouldn't have so much references. They wouldn't have so much references when they say, oh, the master said this, the master said that, as the master said this, as the master said that. They were able to refer from a bank and a wealth of knowledge that they had prior, because Jesus Christ had already done the work. Jesus Christ had tilled the ground for them to manifest. And as you spend time in the presence of God, as you spend time trying to understand God, as He tills the grounds and breaks those walls in your heart, I pray that you will not be in such a hurry to manifest that you miss the most important part, which is creating a wealth and a bank of knowledge in your heart, creating a wealth and a bank of belief and faith in your heart, to understand your source, to understand your roots, so that even whenever you have any doubts, the Holy Spirit will be able to step in and make those doubts disappear and give you the amount of clarity you need to function in this dying world. That is my prayer for you. My prayer for you. The book of 2 Timothy 2 verse 15 says, "Study to show thyself approved unto God, a workman that need not be ashamed, rightly dividing the word of truth." Now that's KJV version. Let me read NLT version, and it says, "Work hard so you can present yourself to God and receive His approval. Be a good worker, or one who does not need to be ashamed of, who correctly explains the word of truth." Now, there is a reason why they needed to talk about being a good worker and also not having shame. You can be a good worker, but you can also have shame. You understand? Your ability to do your work diligently in the house of God might still have an underlying shame tone towards it. So in the church, you're a good worker, you do everything you're supposed to do. In secret, you serve the poor, you help out, you're a good person, but you are slightly ashamed of your faith. And that's why it also went on to say, be one who does not need to be ashamed and who correctly explains the word of truth. When it says do not be ashamed, it means to be bold, be fearless, and that's what I talked about when the Holy Spirit came upon the apostles after their master had left, after Jesus had left, because in as much as they were gonna be good workers, I don't doubt that, they needed a spirit of boldness. They needed a spirit to face everything they were about to become. They needed to not have a single shame in them. And that's why it's so important that we do our work shamelessly. We follow God shamelessly. We follow God without an iota of doubt, without an iota of shame, of disgrace. Nothing about the gospel is disgraceful. If not anything, it is glorious, it is magnificent. So we have to follow God in a way that we are not holding back anything, in a way that we don't try to cover up or hide under any covers. You have to follow God boldly. You have to follow God shamelessly. So now, back to what I'm saying. It's important that as much as we work hard, like 2 Timothy said, and we are supposed to still present ourselves to God and receive His approval. There's absolutely, if you're going to do work, you need to know the work. Back to what I'm saying. Before you do work, you're going to need to know the work. Let's say, for example, you're a hairdresser, or you're a tailor, or you're a software developer. Before you become a software developer or a hairdresser, you need to have learned what it means to become this. And as Christians, we want to see the manifestation of the learning that we have not yet done, the process we've not yet gone through. So it's okay to be in a dark place. It's okay to be in a process of finding yourself and understanding what God is speaking to you about at this season. It's okay to take out time to learn so that you can now do the work, because you can't do a work good if you never really understood it. If there's some people who didn't learn well, and when it's time for execution, execution, they make a lot of mistakes because they didn't learn well. They didn't spend a lot of time understanding. That sometimes you prefer this person to do this work for you because this carpenter is better at finishing, this carpenter is better at polishing, he knows what to do, he cleans it well. And the reason why you go back to him is because he learned well, and he probably spent more time, he probably paid more attention. So how much attention are you paying to the Bible? How much attention are you paying to the things that matter to God? How much time are you dedicating to these things that are supposed to sharpen you and help you grow? How much time are you, or do you feel like you already know everything? Do you think you've come to a point in your life where there's nothing that nothing is new in the Bible, you know everything? So that's what I'm saying. We need to also work hard, and before we do the work, we have to learn. Then we work hard, and then when we are done doing this good work and getting the approval of God, like 2 Timothy said, we have to do it shamelessly, so that at the end of the day, there will be nothing holding us back to boldly proclaim that Jesus is Lord.